Hello everyone, this is Sensei Tristin. Today we're going to be going over our basic stances. Alright, for a lot of us, this is our first kata. These stances, these 15 stances here, are the building blocks for all of our basics, all of our other kata that we're going to learn. So they're incredibly important. So we're going to do this in two parts. Part one, we're just going to focus on the feet, what the stance should look like. Part two, we're going to add the guard and the hands. We're going to put it all together. So, to start our kata, we're going to put our feet together in kyosuke. We make a nice bow. And we stand in yoi. Alright? I'm going to be doing my right leg first. I'm going to start with my hands on my hips. I step with my right leg in front. I line up my heel on my right foot with the toe on my left one. I'm going to push my heel out. I'm going to bend my knees. Alright? The second stance we're going to go to is half forward stance. I'm going to take the heel on this foot. I'm going to put it right where the big toe is on this one. I'm going to bend my knee enough so that I cannot see the big toe on this foot. Alright? The next stance is going to be forward stance. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my heel on this foot. I'm going to put it right where the big toe was. Take a tiny little step. I'm going to bend my knee a little bit farther. Alright? A deeper stance in forward stance. My next stance is fighting stance. I'm going to turn my body. I'm going to take this back foot. I shift it slightly to the outside. It's pointing towards that wall there. I bend both of my knees. Okay? From here, the next stance I'm going to work on is my knee stance. I take this knee. I'm going to drop it. Now, everybody's least favorite fact about knee stance is this knee doesn't touch the ground. I have to try and hold it up. I want to keep good posture here. I don't want to be leaning forward either. I also line up my knee with my heel here. All right? From here, I'm going to stand up. I'm going to shift here a little bit so you can see. This is horse stance. All right? So, I have to make my feet wide enough so that if I was riding a horse, it could fit. All right? My toes should be pointing straight ahead. My knee should be bent. All right? From here, I'm going to take my feet. I'm going to push my toes out. I'm going to sit down. All right? Bend my knees. So, I should be like I'm sitting. All right? This is sumo stance. Okay? From sumo stance, my next stance is cat stance. I'm going to try and stay low here. I take this front foot. I slide it back, and I try and sink in my stance. Again, posture is important here. I don't want to be leaning forward. I want to try and have good posture. From here, I'm going to try and keep everything the same other than this leg. I'm going to go to crane stance. I'm going to work on my balance. All right, if I have this knee bent, generally I can hold my balance pretty well. All right, I'm going to take the leg that's up. I'm going to take one step forward. Take the other leg. I'm going to slide it behind. Both of my knees should be in front here. Again, I want to have good posture, don't want to be leaned forward. This is X stance. All right? I move my feet apart. This is parallel stance. My right foot here is in front. There's a heel-toe line. So the heel on this foot lines up with the toe on this line. All right? And I just bend my knees slightly. The next stance I'm going to go to is my half back stance. I step one leg back, very, very similar to my fighting stance. I have that one foot pointing towards that wall, my other foot pointing forward. I bend both my knees, but I keep my weight back. All right? Then, from half back stance, I go to my full back stance. I turn my body, shift here so you can see a bit. My back foot is pointed straight towards the back, and I bend my knee, almost like I'm pulling a rope, all right? Deep stance. From here, the next stance we're going to do is called L stance. I take this foot, I'm going to slide up. My front foot is pointing straight ahead. My back foot, again, has this heel-toe line. And the back foot's pointed at a 45-degree angle, so at a diagonal right towards the corner here. All right? And the last stance I do is just my ready stance, yoi. All right? My feet are relaxed. So generally pointing straight ahead. For me, they point out a little bit. My knees are relaxed, so they're bent a little bit. And my arms are out in front. All right? And that's our 15 basic stances. All right, guys, so now that we learned our 15 basic stances, what we're going to do is we're going to add the guard, all right? So this form is called Kiondachi no Kamae in Japanese. That means basic stances with guards. So instead of just doing the stances, we're going to add some hands to it here as well, all right? So also, we're going to go over the Japanese names here on this part. So again, I start my kata, I put my feet together, I make a nice bow, and then I stand in yoi. All right? So, we're going to start off with the same stance that we did. We're going to do our hourglass stance. We're going to make sure our stance is nice here. This is sanchin, all right, in Japanese. I do an outward block. when I'm doing hourglass stance, okay? So then I step into my half forward stance. I do a high block. This is Hanzenkutsu. From half forward stance, I step to forward stance. I do my low block. This is Zenkutsu. From forward stance, I go to my fighting stance. I'm going to shift my stance over. I do an inward block here. It turns with my stance. This is Fudo. All right? From here, I have to go to my knee stance. I'm going to drop this knee. I'm going to throw a reverse punch here. I kiai, hey. And this is Hiza. Okay? I'm going to step into my horse stance. So I have those feet pointing straight ahead. My knees bent. I do 2 low blocks here. So let me shift so you can see here. I have 1 low block out here, 1 on this side. And I bend both of my knees. This is Kiba. When I go to sumo stance, my heels go out. I bend my knees. I do 2 outward blocks. This is Shiko. My cat stance, I come back. I do an outward block. This is Nekoashi. Crane stance, I do an interesting version of double block here. I'm going to do a high block and a low block while holding my balance. And this is Sagiashi. I'm going to step here. I bring my arms back to chamber. As I sink into my stance, I do a low X block here for X stance, which is Kosaashi. I'm going to move my feet out, keep my feet parallel for parallel stance. I do 2 outward blocks here. They just come up this way, all right? Hold a guard here. This is Heiko. I step back to my half back stance, bend my knees. I do an outward block. This is Hankokutsu. I'll shift here so you can see. For back stance, I do a double block here. I have 1 arm back here, 1 arm in front. This is still a double block. This is Kokutsu. I'm going to maintain this double block all the way to my next stance, to my L stance. I keep that double block there. This is Renoji. And for Yoi, the arms are just where they normally are. They're out in front. Fun fact for Yoi, they should be a fist length off my body, not against it. And the Japanese name for ready stance is Yoi. All right? Close my kata. And that is all of our basic stances. All right? Thank you for watching.